we understood you just want it at the front section, right there on the right-hand side.
Right.
You know, you're talking about tables and chairs. I'm wondering how many can you get in that little area?
Well, that's that. For me, it's one of these things as far as like breaking down a table and chair. We was looking at like 3 tables in the area, so you can actually populate that so people can come in and do testing. That was the thought process. And we're talking card tables. In other words, you can break them down, store them.
So we're talking about maybe more area than just that little square with the dispatch office.
What we originally was talking about was from the door forward. I guess it'd be the water fountain there forward.
Well, sure,
I mean, not that water fountain, the doorway here forward.
We wouldn't have any problem if somebody wanted to come in and do some testing. If y'all wanted to move the chairs back and do your testing in here and put them back like they are, I wouldn't see a problem with that.
Sure, the network would be actually permeate this room too, so
that's kind
you
of
can do
what
several
we're
things too.
kind of working together with the city to use. If like a factory of Clayton Homes comes in and wanted to bring a lot of their employees over here to have a meeting where we could maybe use this side with our equipment, our electronic equipment over there and bring it into here, and vice versa if y'all need it during a meeting, something like that, y'all could use it. A lot of it's coming back is when we first started approaching with this grant process, they want to know where our office is at. At that point in time, we was working out of David's house, and that was not really a major red flag, but it did raise some eyebrows. This week alone, for y'all who it doesn't, if I haven't already told you, the NCTC magazine that comes out, Westmoreland is getting a featured page on it, and they're doing a whole article on the Freedom Fest. They're doing an article about him working out of his home and stuff. Pretty much the magazine is supposed to be about Westmoreland pretty much that whole period. But he wanted to meet me at the Westmoreland Chamber office on Wednesday. We don't have an office, so he decided we would meet he's from Alabama, Southern Alabama, so he wants to meet at the park. It's coming a monsoon. And we're out underneath, he's expecting a park.
Yeah.
So we meet underneath the gazebo, and we ended up getting together and just using pictures from the Freedom Fest and stuff like that, instead of taking nice, fresh pictures, because he was only here for a day. And that it made me feel bad, because we didn't have an office where we could go show him this is what we'd like to do. And another thing that we're bringing up, I know some of y'all have brought up concerns. To me, moving here from out of town, this building's always been called the Rock Building. Well, if you're not from here, what do you classify as a rock building? So I would like to put a sign, Chamber of Commerce sign, small one, big one, whatever, somehow out there. And maybe even name the building of some sort. That's been presented to us. We kind of talked about that. We're wanting to work with y'all. We don't have an exact draw out plan, but us wanting to work with y'all and y'all work with us, and us try to do something together like what we talked about in the meetings with the industrial board, all of us having the same common goal in the future.
I think another one of our concerns too, Keith, was who's gonna have access to this building, or you gonna leave it open for the public to come in? I thought, we understood there's gonna be some museum items.
We'd like to have, if there's gonna be, what we would do with the museum items is where people be scheduled to come.
Okay.
And we have presented, Rebecca, who's on the board, she works for H&R Block, but after the tax season, she only works 1 day a week. So she make herself available to come in and meet with people and stuff along those lines.
So what y'all want to do is won't require the building to be unlocked at all times?
No.
Okay, that's, okay, that was one of my understandings. You were gonna put up monitors that would continuously roll events that was
The
gonna be
continuous feed would be
happening.
like tonight. We would come in
And
today.
brochures would be out so people could come in, and that was the question we had. Is it gonna be open from 7 to 4 or 8 to 8
The
to 3
plan with the
or
rolling
what?
things like tonight, where y'all having a meeting tonight, we would come in today and we would set
Turn it on.
everything up like an upcoming event, and then as people come in tonight, it would be
When the public
rolling
has
as
access,
advertised where people
Yeah, I
could
mean,
see it.
we've had a lot of success we're having a lot of success out of the webpage, also the Facebook page, and it's actually the extenuation of that, just trying to continue on with that success and add it to this room, and to actually advertise in that room as well. And of course, it's not just advertised for the chamber, it's advertised for our city, so.
For
And the
years,
businesses.
Yes.
for years, we've had the same corporate sponsors ever since I've been a part of the chamber, which has not been very long. We've had the same ones here in town. Since we've done the website, we've got 3 new factories coming out of Portland that's gonna be corporate sponsors for all the events this year, so we should be growing. So, to me, if we're gonna make progress, we have to grow in within ourselves to be able to do that.
Right.
I put together a little no-cost lease agreement. I gave you a copy, and Judy a copy. It covers some of the things that we talked about. I think Mr. Bradley would say we need to have an agreement in writing. I think us just talking is not good enough.
Right.
I agree.
So I don't know, he hadn't seen this, but it's the one that I use at the Dream Center. So, was anything in here that gave you any hiccups or problems?
Me and Judy and Jeff all has
This has
read
got the $1
over.
million, insurance that you
Right.
have to have.
We already have that.
So I don't think I sent that to all y'all, but we've gotta get a contract. We can't just,
No, and we totally agree. We
Right.
think we should be
Give us to
responsible.
read over for, I've got my copy that he gave me, and let you see
well,
that to
I'll
read.
email him one. I wanted to see if it met y'all's need first, and I'll email it to Mr. Bradley and see if he's got any tweaks on it.
I didn't see, me and Judy nor Jeff has found any problem with it at this time.
Yeah.
How many sets of keys will you need?
I would say, right now, every key that we have to everything else, me and Judy has a key to it, and that is it, at this time. I'll probably be bringing, Jeff has become, hopefully after next week, Jeff's gonna be vice president, if everything goes right, so then he will have a key, as the plan goes, so that'll be 3 sets, is what I'm thinking.
The internet, we have internet in here now, but will you have another internet different from this, or
Right
you
now, you
piggyback
have
off
one.
ours?
Right, have you got more than just the router that we've always had back there?
Oh, I just know enough to be dangerous, but.
Right now, what we have is a standard router, you've seen this.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's a standard North Central router. What this is, it's a small business class network.
Okay, so we would
Actually-
continue to use ours and you would use yours, right?
Yes, if we ever decided to consolidate those, we can. Cause I've actually got North Central to agree to give us a gig up, gig down, or as fast as they can provide to the chamber, for free on a monthly basis.
So why couldn't we piggyback off of you guys?
You can.
I mean, we're giving you a
I mean,
bill for free.
I could put a
Exactly.
drop in here, all over this room, and cover this room with Wi-Fi.
That's exactly, that's my
So-
plan, let's
Yeah,
work
okay.
together, y'all can
Which
piggyback.
brings up another question, will you be offering free Wi-Fi to public as they come in for these events and utilize that, or will it just be
Yes.
used
So-
for the times that's needed?
Yeah, so what this system does, it also includes a portal. So there's actually a guest portal whenever we enable it. And without that being enabled, they would not have access. So it'll be shut down and turned on based upon that event. So I think you guys actually kind of like that. And I mean, I'm kind of a geek, as most of you already know.
Yeah.
I have this portal in my house. Okay. So, but no, this whole entire network. I mean, this is like I said, a small business class. I actually run the same network in my house. So.
And this, dollar amount here, do make it clear that that is money that will be coming from the grant that was left over from the other 2 projects. Yeah,
Well, we'll add that into the.
right, it's no cost to the city at all.
Correct.
Because there was a little over $3,000 left, so you're more than
I
covered
think if
here.
my memory
Yeah.
serves me right, I think the grant, we still have $3,400, I think is what the final figure, I may be
You'll
wrong.
put another bell or whistle in it somewhere, I'm sure.
Right, so we'll be coming down, by the time any kind of tables or anything, we're gonna be right there, but there's no cost to the city, even if we have to pull money out of our fund to help go on top of that, there'll be no cost at all to the city.
I'll even buy some nails if I have to.
Anything else?
One other thing, just real quick. This actually, one of the things that came up from Freedom Fest this year was, you guys all see that big North Central trailer that was out front. North Central is really partnering with us in a lot of ways, like Keith mentioned as far as the articles for Westmoreland and how interesting the community is, right? But what this will do is we could actually extend externally with antennas. So, and like what AT&T was saying a while ago, you can actually create a mobile hotspot for first responders. It does that if you're in range. So, there's a lot of things you can do with this network. So, it actually can grow very well with the city.
Are video guys looking to live stream our meetings versus play them back later? So that's something, I guess my thought, could you overload the network? If he's trying to stream something and everybody gets on their iPad, it wouldn't overload it.
No, just, I'll give you an example. In my house, at any one time, there's always like 4 televisions going, streaming high def content, sometimes 4K content, along with 2 people working full time at home. And I've got cameras all around my house, security systems, and the whole 9 yards, and it never skips a beat. So, any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Appreciate your time, John.
Put that on the agenda.
Yes. Mr. Spears, if you'd like to come on up, please.
Absolutely. You guys got a lot going on in this thing, so I'll try to be brief. I just thought it'd be prudent for me to come by and kind of show you how we're spending your money and how we're spending our money and just give you a little update. Weather hasn't been very kind to it, but I want to bring you by a few pictures. These are of the softball field, kind of the improvements that we're trying to undertake. I had a picture. Here's where we started from. I should have sent that one around first. That's where we started from, and that's where we're currently at. Hopefully in the coming weeks we'll have those block walls capped off and I'll have them painted nice and
He's on the ladder.
yeah, he's on the ladder. It's not our guy.
Not our guy, yeah.
So those walls will be capped off and painted nice black water sealed paint and they're gonna put some nice red Wisconsin/Westmoreland W's on them for us. And we'll string some nets, and there's already a lot of excitement generated by the update that we're doing, and hopefully over the next 3 or 4 weeks we'll be able to do the exact same thing to the Little League Park over here in town, which was our idea, was to do 2 fields at a time. Have both of those done and playable by April the 4th when we have opening day. So Mayor and you guys, love to have you guys there so we can pat you on the back and give you a public thank you for helping jump in with us. The bigger, again, I hope this is something that we can continue to do and help work together with our money and y'all's money and the city's money to sort of improve the parks, as we said before, like a year-to-year basis. A little bit at a time goes a long way. I know the people that have come by and seen this, they've already expressed a great deal of excitement and appreciation, and we've been quick to tell them kind of where the planning and where the ideas have come from and how much support you guys have given us. Which is the other reason I want to come by as well, in addition to showing you kind of where we're at, and I'll continue to do so and can give you an idea of where we're going. Nathan and I were kind of partners in crime at this, and one of our biggest concerns before we even started this, before we even spent any of y'all's money or our money as well, was sort of a security standpoint. Currently, I mean, I know we had tried to put together a park board. We don't currently have one. And I know other towns have some sort of like a sports council that kind of not necessarily governs the parks, but sort of oversees the athletic facilities. I know Gallatin has one. Our biggest concern is this: like, you're putting your money into this, we're putting our organization's money into this, but there's nothing that says any Sally, Joe, Jane, or Jim can go over there anytime they want to and do whatever they want. I know we've already had issues in years past with vandalism at the parks to begin with. I'm not so much as concerned about vandalism from the standpoint of like spray paint and this and that and whatever, as I am somebody using a field when a field's not playable. Someone that's athletically inclined, you already understand that in 10 minutes time I can do enough damage to a playing surface or to a dugout, to a playing field that it takes hours to fix. So currently, yes, they're city parks. You guys own the parks, the city owns the parks, but nobody's stopping nobody from going over there. My biggest fear is that between you guys and us over the next 3 or 4 years, we spend not just $6,000 or $7,000, but tens of thousands of dollars over there, and there's nobody that says anything about what's going on. For example, not only does our league, and we're talking particularly about the baseball fields, obviously, we have no vested interest in what goes on at the city park as far as where the walking track is or any other facilities like that. We're specifically talking about the baseball fields. But for example, because I work at the high school, I love our high school program, I love our high school athletics, from baseball, basketball, football, all the way around. But what does the high school baseball and softball program do when they're up there to weather play on? They go use the city park. If it's the least bit usable, they use it. And they turn, they walk away from it when they're done with it, just leave it however they left it. Church league softball. Well, they have church folks to death, but they'll go over there and play when they play on a Friday, Saturday night, and they turn around, they turn the lights off and they leave it however they left it. And it comes back to Little League to come in and do the hours of raking and the hours of field conditioning and whatnot it takes to get it back playable for our games all throughout the week. In other towns, what they have is they have some sort of a sports council. It doesn't necessarily govern over the park as far as saying you know how the money gets spent on it or what is or isn't done to it. It just helps control access to it. I would hope at some point if we get these fields the way that we want them, that there is somebody or some organization in place that can post, hey, you know, Little League baseball field on Park Street is closed today. It's too wet for access. Same thing at the T-ball field, the softball field they're working on now, so that we don't spend our money only to have it, you know. I mean, 'cause we're about to spend $5,000 just in sand and dirt. A four-wheeler, or you know, team with, you know, little cause for concern is to, you know, whether this ain't their field, why can't we practice? So we've had travel teams come into our town during our own season, from Scottsville, from Lafayette, whatever, and just use our field just for practice. If now if my travel team tried to do that in Gallatin, I'm gonna have to pay a deposit. I'm gonna have to check either online on their webpage or call the man in charge and make sure the field is accessible that day if there's the least bit of rain, and get permission to go practice. I can't just show up and practice. And that's kind of something I don't have all the answers yet. But I guess my biggest question is, if I put together some kind of proposal, would that be something you guys would entertain as far as having some sort of, not necessarily governing body, you guys are the governing body, but just sort of overseeing body of the things right now that we're trying to spend money on? 'Cause it
Mr.
doesn't really.
Spears, I'd like to say at this point, thank you, because you have just eloquently spoke to what I've been trying to get done for several seasons now.
Okay.
By seasons, I mean years.
Appreciate
I feel like we need a parks director in this city. It was something that I presented, I think probably at least 3 years ago. It was actually a forerunner of us trying to get some kind of parks board. If the city officials saw fit to put a person in that position, and one of the things that we had discussed was, you know, what the job description would be if they could help do the scheduling, help coordinate all the events, the fields, the different leagues, in town, out of town, in city, out of city, countywide, even out of state. Especially with our other fields, we're gonna be tearing that sewer plant down pretty soon. And hopefully the new plant's gonna be going to bid here very soon, and that one will be gone in a matter of a year or so. So, you know, we even discussed the possibility that the parks person would be in charge of taking care of the mowing, the landscaping, and all that. Granted, it would be a lot of work for one guy.
Sure.
But we've gotta cut our teeth and get started before we do anything else. So, I'm going to take your suggestion and piggyback it off of what I've been trying to get for years, and see if, when we start the upcoming budget session here very soon, within probably the next, month, that position be added in to our budget as an annual position, for a classified employee to be directly responsible for our parks and recreation.
Well, on a part-time.
So thank you.
Absolutely. On a part-time basis, that's something I'll be interested in, not necessarily for the position itself, but like I said, I have a good relationship, I feel like, with all the local leagues in town, and I think that, I mean, it's all about the kids, it's what we're here for, that's what we're here for, at least, it's what the leagues are here for. And, you know, scheduling's not a part of it, right? You know, unfortunately, you know, our youth football program uses the fields for practice. We have a soccer program that shares the field of baseball. Having someone in charge of not just necessarily controlling access, but there's other I guess, things that can fall underneath that umbrella as far as scheduling. You know, not necessarily when is it soccer season versus baseball season or football season, but having a central person that can help control sort of access so that everybody kind of gets their own piece of the pie. You know, so again, that's kind of where we're at. But I just don't want to see you guys or us or all both of us put together spend some precious hard-earned dollars on stuff that we can't necessarily mitigate what happens to it.
If you go out there on the field and it's rained like it has recently, and somebody goes out there and decides they wanna play, I mean, you're looking at, you're gonna have to go out there and do some work to get it back playable. You're gonna have ruts, you're gonna have whatever else.
Yep.
I can think those 3 or 4 years ago, we had a guy come over to the field and just on his own tilled up the infield because he thought it was unlevel. And that took like a week to get it back in playing shape. So you just gotta, that's the kind of control we don't really have right now. We can't say, oh, don't do that because somebody's already did it, or it's just not monitored, so.
And, you know, and it kinda goes, it benefits us too, because if we're allowed to do that, then we could say, we have, if there's a parks website, the person that's in charge of that, all we have to do is get on, you know, all our baseball parents have to get on and say, okay, well, the league field's not playable now, I know we're not playing now, it saves us about 200 phone calls, you
Yeah.
know? So, I mean, just a centralized location and a centralized person or committee that sort of helps orchestrate that was something that I would love to submit a proposal to you guys on, maybe at the next meeting or something like that in 2 weeks, and just see what you think about it. Tell me how I can help you guys help us, sort of deal. That's something you entertain, so.
Get it back to us by our next work study.
We'll do it, yes, sir, thanks for that.
One question about the current project you got
Yes, sir,
going.
you got it.
The, fencing around the dugouts, is that gonna be taken down and put,
Okay, so the fencing, okay, we are removing the fencing on the front, the
Right.
playfield side of the dugout, that's gonna be replaced with nets.
Is that what's so dangerous?
Yes.
Yeah.
That,
Which gets
along
curled up.
the bottom, all the way
curls
around.
up, yeah.
Now, the outside of the dugout, that's gonna be phase 2, that's why I'm gonna be coming here talking to you guys about this time next year. What we wanna do is basically do cinder block on the outside of the dugout all the way around, remove that and cinder block them in all the way around, all the way to the top. And then, so that, from that point, from the far end of both dugouts, all the way around will be nothing but cinder block and nets, which should maintain itself for many, many years, unlike fencing. It's all, only thing we'll have fence wise, from the far side of the dugout, all the way around. So,
Yeah, I told the council if that, was still unsafe after us talking about it, I would close that field this year.
no, it's
Yeah.
gonna be in great shape.
Yeah.
It's gonna be best shape it's been in since we won a state tournament on it, so. In 1981. So, it's the best shape it's been in since then, I promise you that, so.
It'll be budget time here soon, like the mayor says, so you need to, you're
Okay.
talking future already and
Go
you
ahead,
need to
have your
put some
proposal
numbers
ready for
together.
us.
Yeah,
Got it.
I like to think that way downfield, so. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Okay, y'all wanna take a short break or you wanna continue for another hour? Okay, we'll take about 5 or 10 minutes.
So you don't want that on the agenda for the council meeting, and
Very
you
well.
said work
Very
study.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, we need to study it.
yeah.
Proposition that said, you're gonna have a leg.
that's good thinking.
We're not gonna put ourselves in bond.
You might put that house in a month, and they come on back the first day.
I just know a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, the way we're going, John, what about it?
How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
What's new?
John, we're not right. Portland's department heads do the hiring over there. I think Hendersonville does, of course, David may do it now. I don't know.
Yeah, well, he has to prove it, but, yeah, typically department heads do it. That's the way it is most places. I mean, it's always subject to the approval of the mayor, you know,
Well,
or the
even
city
the council,
administrator.
you know, as far
In
as
our
that
case,
goes.
the city administrator.
So, but I mean, we're probably letting good folks get away because we've got this time lag of calling in.
You can hire them temporarily too, with the final approval.
We started.
One of the things that I thought was really weird was that if I'm reading the policy